Okay then, good evening. Welcome back to our psychology class. What did we learn yesterday? Elvina, where were you yesterday?
Ma'am, yesterday I came to the school.
Oh, okay, fine. Why didn't you come and meet me?
Because I have came to buy the book.
Oh,
For
fine. Yes. Meghna, tell me, what did we learn yesterday?
We yesterday what is culture,
Yes,
important features,
yes.
and culture transmission,
Yeah, cultural transmission. Then,
enculturation, and socialization.
yes,
That we just started.
started. Okay. What is enculturation? Aishwarya. Just what you understood, whatever you understood, you can tell me.
Learning without anyone forcing you to learn.
Okay, yeah, learning the things that is present in your culture without anybody forcing you to do it. Okay, what is the key element in enculturation? Ashish. The key element, or how do, if it is a child who is undergoing the process of enculturation, what is the key element? How do they engage in the process of enculturation? Aishwarya gave us a clue. Nobody forces them to do it. Then how do they do? Remember the pictures that we saw? One was,
Watching their parents.
yeah, watching their parents, or rather, technically, psychologically, how do we tell that? Watching, seeing is all common terms. We are all psychologists now. We psychology students. So use the specific terms. Which method do they use?
Observation.
Observation method, yes, correct. And enculturation and socialization, they are the two main things that is important in this part, that is in the cultural basis of human behavior. Okay, and today we'll be learning about socialization. So are you familiar with that term, socialization? Anyone? Yes. How do you socialize usually? Or how do
Meeting people.
meeting people? Then, okay, that's one way. Another way, who would say, Amal, you tell me. How do children socialize? How do adults socialize?
Ma'am, by observing, yeah,
Observing?
and observing the elders.
Observing the adults, children socialize. Is it?
Uh,
Okay, then.
mm,
Elvina, how do people socialize?
by interacting socially, ourselves, we are interacting socially
With
with people.
around us. Yes. And who else is there? Sana, can you switch on your video? Are you there? Ashish, how do people socialize generally? Apart from interactions or apart from what Aishwarya told? Any other ways?
helping.
Helping, yes, that is one form of behavior. Then, any other answers? Meghna, do you have an answer?
Through social medias.
Social media, yes, that's a very important one right now. Then, Sana, do you know any other ways of socialization?
By communication.
Communication. Okay, so you have a general idea of what socialization is, and we'll see the definition. It is a process by which individuals acquire knowledge, skills, and dispositions. Dispositions means the general characteristics or the features or the qualities as such. Then, the knowledge, skills, and dispositions which enable them to participate as effective members of groups and society. So when you hear the word socialization, you know that it concerns with something related to society. So if we have to be, or if we want to be the part of a group or a society or a community, then we have to socialize with different agents in the society. And it is from these society or from within the society that we acquire or that we gain several knowledge or several information, several skills, that is different expertise in doing different activities. Then we gain certain dispositions, the qualities, the characteristics from them, and all these things enable us to participate effectively in that particular group or society. This is the basic concept of socialization. Again, it is a process, or socialization is a process by which individuals acquire knowledge, skills, and dispositions which enable them to participate as effective members of groups and society. So this process, this particular process, it continues all through our lifespan. When an individual is born till his or her death, the process of socialization continues. And at each stage of development, we'll have different modes of socialization, different levels of socialization, different degrees of socialization also. Like some people socialize more with others. Some people they prefer to be alone, or they don't like much company, so they don't socialize much with the external world. So it depends on the individual whether the degree of socialization that he or she undergoes depends on the individual as well as the context around him, the social context also. And I already told you the socialization process, it takes place at any stage of development. That is, even if you are a newborn baby, even if you are a toddler, even if you are at early childhood, even if you become an adolescent, if you become an adult, even if you enter the old age, in all these stages of development, there is some level of socialization takes place. Do you agree with that? Yes? Yes or no? Yes. Why do you think so? Why do you think socialization happens at any stage of development? Give me an example. Yes, Ashish?
It is continuous,
Continuous?
father to
Example.
baby,
Right.
so on.
Yeah? I can hear you. I can't hear you. Like take the example of a child and a grandfather in a particular house. Do they both socialize? Yes? If yes, in what ways do they socialize? Can anybody help him? Aishwarya, can you help him?
First of all, it depends upon the environment around them.
Yes.
If the grandfather is sitting inside the house without going outside, it's less chance for him to get socialized.
Yes.
And
The baby.
yes, ma'am.
And what about the child?
If the child is, if the child goes to play outside, or when he meets more of people, social media and all those stuff,
Yes.
he gets more socialized than the grandfather.
Yes, very good. So Ashish, again let me ask you, if this grandfather is sitting at home, as Aishwarya said, what are the ways in which he can socialize with his old friends or relatives? How can he mingle with them? How can he contact them? Yes, Ashish, are you there? This video is stuck. Yes. Did you hear my question, Ashish?
No.
Okay. If this grandfather is sitting at home, hmm, he is not mingling much with the outside world or the neighbors around him. Hmm? And which are the ways in which this grandfather can socialize with the external world? How can he contact his relatives or old friends or whomever he wants to contact? Which are the ways in which he can socialize sitting at home? Again, did you hear my question? Ashish, network issue. Can anybody else help?
He can talk through phone.
He can talk through phone. Yes. Another way. Amal. Any other ways in which he can socialize sitting at home?
Ma'am, by seeing TV, knowledge.
Knowledge that he gained from TV, news and all. Yes. Then another way.
Reading newspapers.
Reading newspaper. Very good. Then yes, Meghna.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, the social media. Then any other methods?
He can
Reading.
write letters.
Write letters. Yes. Then come on. Term. Elvina, do you have any new idea or a forgotten idea like letters?
Like as he has his grandparents,
Yeah.
he would grandfather the relatives would come to him and looked, or the people outsiders would come him and asking him his about his condition.
Yes. So you're talking about the guests that come to the house, right? Yes, that is so far. Then who else didn't answer? Reina.
I'm not, you're not clear. It's stuck.
You can't hear my voice?
Now a bit. Now it is okay.
Okay.
The question I didn't hear.
Okay, the question is, a grandfather is staying at home. He don't usually go out and mingle with people. He don't talk to the neighbors now. So which are the ways in which this particular grandfather can socialize or contact or mingle with the outside world? That is the question.
Through social media,
Media, we discussed. Yes,
letters,
letters.
and
Any other idea? That's it.
that's it.
Okay. Ashish, yeah, you're back. Do you have any answer? Back again. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, so at any stage of development, we were talking about the child and the grandfather. So they are both at different stages of development, right? The father is at old age and the child is at the stage of childhood. Even at both these stages, socialization can take place. Again, the people who are related to us, they have a tendency to influence us and get us socialized. These people or these group of people are known as socialization agents. Please note that term, socialization agents. The people or the groups of people who socialize us is known as or are known as socialization agents. We'll be learning about this in detail. It's just an introduction. And the two of the main concepts that is important in socialization, the whole process of socialization, is rewards and punishments. They are the basic means of achieving the goals of socialization. Rewards means rewards are meant for when are the rewards given for you or to you?
When some achievement happens.
Yeah, when you achieve something or when you show a good behavior, you get a reward. And when do you get a punishment, Elvina?
When you have been done any mistake.
Mistake, or you exhibit a bad behavior, then you get a punishment. Yes. So these two things, rewards and punishments, are the main determinants of the socialization process. Like if suppose the socialization agent is your parent, and your parent is trying to teach you how to eat with a spoon. That is the socialization process you are undergoing through. So whenever you go to a hotel, you can eat with the spoon. So that you are getting the training from your house itself. The parents are training you from childhood itself. And when you successfully take the food in the spoon and put it into your mouth without spilling on the table, then they praise you. They give claps, they give praises, and that is a form of reward for you. Understood? And eventually, the good behavior, the child learns the good behavior, and the child would exhibit this good behavior later on. And suppose if this child is continuously spilling on the table, then the parents might tease you. Or maybe scold in a very polite or friendly manner. Then that would be a form of punishment for you, so that the bad behaviors are not shown again and again. Understood? So the rewards and punishment, that is the basic or the basic means of the whole process of socialization. That is the two main things, rewards and punishments. And yesterday we learned about enculturation. Aishwarya already told that nobody forces us to get encultured, right? But socialization and enculturation, they are similar processes, but the only difference is enculturation, the key element of enculturation was what?
Observation.
Observation. Very good. Now the key element here is the deliberate teaching. There we didn't have anybody to teach us, we merely observed. But in socialization, it involves deliberate teaching. What does it involve, Meghna?
Deliberate teaching.
Teaching. Deliberate teaching means somebody forces us or somebody puts in an effort intentionally, means they have some intention in mind and they teach us something. Just like the parents. The parents had an intention to teach this child how to eat with the spoon, how to eat food with the spoon. So that they had a conscious intention there. They were conscious about this, they were alert about it, and then they tried to teach the child how to eat with a spoon. So there is deliberate teaching in socialization, but there is observation in enculturation. That is the basic difference. Understood everyone, the basic difference? Yes. So don't confuse it. In socialization, we always have some socializing agents to teach us something in a deliberate fashion. But in enculturation, we observe others, we watch others, we see others, and from that we learn things. Okay? Now, as I told before, we'll be studying about the main socialization agents in our immediate socio-cultural context, and we'll see what socialization agents are. A number of people who relate to us possess power to socialize us and are called socialization agents. So parents can be your socialization agent. What else? What else do you think can socialize us? Parents can teach us something, then who else? Or what else?
Grandparents.
Grandparents, okay. Then
Internet.
internet, yes. Then Sana,
Older siblings.
older siblings, yes. Then not only older siblings, younger siblings too. Child is the father of man. Haven't you heard that? The kids in LKG and UKG know far better than us to use the internet and the electronic devices now. We'll have to get help from them. Yeah. Ashish, all the network issues are sorted now? Yeah, you give me another example of a socialization agent.
Teacher,
Teachers, very good. Thank God you didn't forget me. Then, who else? Amal,
Friends,
friends, very important. Then, Reina, who else can socialize us?
Social media.
Social media, yes. Then, who else didn't answer? Elvina,
Relatives.
relatives, cousins, yes. So all these together, we put in small groups and we study main four socialization agents in this chapter. Parents including the grandparents also. Then the school includes your teachers, the other staffs in there. Then the peer groups, the main friends, the close friends you have. Then the media influences, which include the newspapers, the radio, the television, the social media, the magazines, everything all together. So we'll see each socialization agent. Okay, the first one is parents. So the first or the first socialization agent in our life would be probably our parents. They have a direct and a very important influence and impact on our behavior, in our upbringing, in the trainings that we get in our childhood. In all these factors, our parents have a very important and significant role, and they encourage and discourage, they reward and punish. I already told you, reward or the, we have another name for that, it is called reinforcement. The reinforcement is similar to the reward thing. So rewarding a behavior or punishing a behavior, by doing these things, the parents try to shape our behavior and character. And they, for good behaviors they give us encouragement, for bad behaviors they give us
Punishment.
punishments or discouragement. So they expose children to various situations. So the parents want their children to expose themselves into different situations in life. Then only they learn how to act in that particular situation, how to handle the particular situation, how to behave in a particular situation. So suppose if the parents don't take these their kids for social functions. Hmm? They are just grounding the child in the house. The child is not allowed to go for any social function right from childhood. Do you think that the child would learn how to mingle with other people? Yes.
Uh,
No. Okay. So because of that, the parents would be interested in exposing their children to different social situations. And from these social situations, they get different opportunities to interact with others. Now, different parenting styles. Parenting styles means the strategies adopted by parents while interacting with children. So, different parenting styles are used by parents to interact with their children. That is, some parents are very dominating, like they set military rules and they want complete discipline. They don't give much freedom to their kids. There is yet another other set of parents who full freedom, complete freedom to their children and complete love to their children. They don't have any limits. You can do whatever you want according to your own desire. There is another set of people. Now we have another set of parents who equally give this love, care, and warmth, and also control their children in a limited amount. That is, discipline is also important there, warmth is also important there. So such a parenting style also exists. So different parenting styles are used by parents to interact with their children. That is one important thing here. Then grandparental proximity and the network of social relationships that they have, or that the children are exposed to, are a form of importance to the whole process of socialization. Grandparental proximity means how much close these children are to to their own grandparents. And the network of social relationship means the other set of social people, that is the other set of people, the relatives, cousins, and the other siblings around this particular child forms the network of social relationships. And again, grandparental proximity as well as network of social relationship, these are two main things that also influence the socialization process of the child. Understood? So that is about the parent section. Now we have the school. Interactions with teachers, peers, etc. is important. You know that. And yeah, not only cognitive skills, but they also learn social skills from the school. Cognitive skills means how to read, how to write, how to solve a problem, how to deal with the mathematics. All those things comes under cognitive skills. Social skills include how to interact with others, how to express their emotions, how to understand others' emotions, how to take perspectives, how to understand things from different perspectives, how to wish others, how to greet others, how to say thank you, how to say please. All these things are also learned from school. Now, learn and internalize norms and rules. The students or the children, they learn and they internalize the norms and rules. In moral science, in different other sciences, you learn about different, how to act in different situations, about the ethical principles, how the rules are there. Don't you remember learning about the traffic signals and the safety rules? Yes? Red light stands for? Red light stands for? Red light in a signal stands for what?
Stop.
Stop. And green?
Go.
Go. And the other one?
Yellow, wait.
Wait. Okay, very good. So you have already learned and internalized the norms and rules, at least the signals. Okay, and that happens in school, then transform a child's personality. So the school, the teachers, the friends you have at school, then the other staffs, those are there at the school, all these people have a major role in shaping your personality or your character. That is why even people from poor families, they find education very important and send their children to school to mold their character or to mold their personality. Then, so that's about parents and school. Then we have another important group, that is peer groups. Middle childhood stage is characterized by the extension of social network beyond home. So we have early childhood, middle childhood, and late childhood. We learned that in the next chapter. But in the middle childhood stage, that is extension of social network beyond home takes place. Middle childhood means it's around the adolescent age. So you have social networks beyond home, means you form close relationship or close friendships with people of your same age. Hmm? And that's the social network apart from your social network at home. Apart from the close dad, your mom, your siblings, or the grandparents that you have other social network, including your peer group, including your friends. And friendship, it not only provides you company, but it also provides you a system where you can organize your activities. Activities like play. You can meet them at some ground and play badminton or football or PUBG or whatever you want. Yes. So it gives an opportunity to organize your activities collectively with members of your own age, same age group people. Then you also develop different qualities by mingling with the people of your age. What are some of the qualities that you have got from your friends? Who wants to share?
Caring,
Hmm? Sorry?
caring,
Caring. Then any good quality that your best friend has taught you?
How to mingle.
How to mingle. Then
Helping each other.
helping each other. Then Anything else? Yeah, you develop different qualities according to the friend that you have, like the trust that you develop, the honesty that you develop between each other, then the mutual helping behaviors that you do. All these qualities are developed when you are in a friend circle. Then it also, or the engagement or the involvement or the interactions with your friends or the with your peer group, it helps to it helps you to take different points of view. Like you might have a point of view, and your friend might have a different point of view, but if it is with your parents, you might feel uh, an inhibition to express it openly. But if it is with your friend, you can openly tell them, they can openly tell you that you are not right. So the critical thinking, the taking different perspectives, different point of views, all these takes place in your peer group or in your friend circle. So that is also really helpful for you to socialize. So that's about peer groups. Now the last one is media influences. As I told you, it includes the television, the newspapers, the books, cinema, films, etc. And children learn many things from them. We have already learned about the media influences in our first chapter. So adolescents and young adults derive models. So if children are learning something, they observe, they get a lot of information from this media influences. The other age group, that is adolescents and young adults, they try to model them. They derive models from them, especially from films and all. They mainly try to model the heroes and the heroines present in the films and the series and all those things. And the major issue about this influence or this particular socialization agent is the exposure to violence. The exposure to violence is um, a major factor, a major concern that is studied nowadays. It is said to increase aggressive nature in the adolescent group or in the young adults. Okay, so that is one of the drawback of this socialization agent. So more, what we have to do is we have to try and get good information from the media and internalize the good behaviors from the media and ignore the ones that are harmful for our future endeavors. Okay, so that's all about our socialization. Any doubt in the portion? Yes, anyone? It's almost time, so we'll see Monday probably. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.